Why doesn't my bob look right anymore? Sweetheart, can I ask you something just between us? Have you ever caught your reflection and thought, why does my bob look tired when I'm not? It looked so fresh the day you left the salon, like it actually lifted your face. But just a few days later, it's puffing out in strange places, falling flat in others. And the back? Let's not even go there. You're not imagining it. And no, you're not doing anything terribly wrong. But after working with so many women in their 50s, 60s, and beyond, I've seen this again and again. Tiny little styling habits sneak in quietly. They seem harmless, but they slowly chip away at the shape, movement, and elegance of your bob. So today we're going to fix that together. I'll walk you through 6 of the most common bob styling mistakes that I see all the time. And once you spot them, you'll never unsee them. You'll learn how to keep your bob in shape between salon visits, make it move with you, not against you, and even get back that fresh, face-lifting look you loved on day one. And yes, I'll tell you about Susan, a woman who thought her bob had expired, until she tried one tiny tweak that completely transformed her face. Let's start with the one mistake that's literally behind you and could be working against you every single day. Let me say this as lovingly as I can. This one mistake could be undoing your whole bob. And the worst part? You probably don't even know it's happening because it's behind you. Most women completely ignore the back of their bob. I get it. You can't see it. It's not in your selfies. It's not what you focus on in the mirror. But let me tell you, what you don't see is exactly what everyone else does. There's this little spot right at the base of your skull called the nape. It's where your hair can puff out, flip up, or just sit heavy if you're not paying attention. And when that happens, your bob starts to look bulky from the side, like a little helmet, dragging your whole silhouette down. Instead of lifting your face, it's pulling everything south. Not flattering, not fresh, not what you paid for. Let me tell you about Susan. She's 54, clever as a whip, and had been wearing a bob for years. One day she sat down in my chair, frustrated. She said, "I love this cut, but now it just looks like a helmet. I don't know what I'm doing wrong." I had her turn around, and there it was. The nape was puffed, curling out, weighing down her whole style. So we made one tiny change. I showed her how to flatten the nape when blow drying. No fancy product, no brush, just a dryer and the right motion. Hold the dryer flat against the neck, no brush. Use heat and light tension to smooth everything downward. I told her, forget about volume back here. This is not where we want it. Next time she came in, she gave me a big hug. She said, "I didn't know that little area could change my whole face. My bob finally moves with me instead of against me." So here's your takeaway, darling. Start styling from the back. Keep the nape flat and clean. It sharpens your profile, lifts your shape, and can literally buy you an extra 3 weeks between trims. That's not just better hair. That's smart beauty. But even when the back is under control, there's something else that could be silently sabotaging your bob. It's sitting right in your hands, and it smells like argan oil. Let's talk about product. I've seen so many lovely women, kind, elegant, intentional, turn their bob into a heavy little mop without even realizing it. Why? Because they're trying to do the right thing. They're moisturizing, protecting, nourishing, all good intentions. But here's the catch. When you overload your ends with product, you don't get shine, you get drag. Those crisp, clean lines, they start sticking together. The bounce disappears, the movement fades, and your bob, this gorgeous, structured cut, starts to look limp, tired, and aged. It's like watching a silk blouse turn into wet cotton. Here's my rule of thumb. Mid-shaft only. Apply your styling products from mid-length down, but stop about an inch above the very bottom. That last inch, let it breathe. And if you're using something rich, like oil, warm it in your palms and press it in gently. No rubbing, No smearing. Your bob is not a sandwich. It doesn't need to be slathered. Think glide, not glue. Because when the ends are soft and light, your bob gets its rhythm back. It sways when you walk. It catches the light. It moves like it's supposed to. That's elegance, and it starts with a little restraint. Let me ask you something. How often do you reach for that flat iron just for a quick touch-up? One pass turns into 3, and before you know it, your bob is clinging to your cheeks like wet paper. You think you're smoothing flyaways, but what you're really doing? You're ironing the life out of your haircut. A bob that's too flat loses everything that makes it flattering. No lift at the crown, no soft curve at the cheekbone, just straight lines that drag your features down. And here's the thing. When your hair sticks to your head, guess what has to do all the work? Your face. And sweetheart, your face deserves help, not extra responsibility. Now, I'm not saying you need curls or waves. This isn't the 80s. But your bob needs movement. It needs shape. It needs a little breath. Try this instead. On the top layers, use a round brush or a styling iron to add just a soft bend. Think subtle scoop, not spiral. Just enough to let it lift off the face and fall back into place. Because flat doesn't mean sleek. It means tired. And we're not tired, we're just getting started. Now let's talk about something you hadn't changed in years, but it might be working against your face every single day. Your part, that little line on your scalp, it can lift your features, soften sharp angles, or throw your whole look off balance. Here's what I see too often. Someone gets stuck in the part they've had since 2005. Maybe a deep side part they always thought looked dramatic, or a dead center part because it's low effort. But your face changes, your bone structure shifts, and what once framed you beautifully may now be exaggerating the very things you'd rather soften. So let's rethink that. If your face is fuller or rounder, try shifting your part just slightly off-center. It breaks up the symmetry and adds length and lift. If you've got a strong jawline, a deeper side part, especially with a touch of volume, can soften the angles and bring attention to your eyes. And here's the fun part. Your part isn't permanent. Move it when you style. Flip it now and then. Keep your bob alive, just like your personality, because sometimes a half-inch shift is all it takes to bring your whole look back into harmony. Now here's a habit that feels completely natural, but quietly throws your whole bob out of balance. You're starting at the front. You step out of the shower, towel off, and what do you reach for first? The bangs, the sides, the seam parts. It makes sense, right? That's what you notice when you look in the mirror. But here's the trouble. By the time you get to the back, it's already dried in whatever shape it felt like. That means bulky napes, uneven volume, and sections that just won't behave. You've built your house, but forgot the foundation. Here's what I tell my clients. Flip the script. Start with the crown and the back. Get your volume and structure set. Then, move forward to the face framing pieces. That way, everything falls into place naturally. The shape holds, the layers align, and you don't end up redoing everything 5 minutes later. Think of it like decorating a cake. You don't start with the frosting until the whole thing is baked. And you, my dear, deserve a bob that holds together beautifully from back to front. Even when you've styled everything just right, there's one final mistake that sneaks in quietly over time. You're not resetting your style. Most women don't realize this, but your bob, it has memory. And if you never hit the reset button, it starts to remember all the wrong things. Think about it. Each day, your hair gets tucked behind your ears, pressed by your pillow, flattened by sunglasses, twisted into little clips or half ponies. Bit by bit, it picks up kinks, bends, bumps, and slowly drifts away from the shape you love. Before you know it, your bob's leaning to one side. The back's sagging, the front won't lift, and you're wondering why it doesn't feel fresh anymore. So here's what I recommend. Once a week, just once, start fresh. Wash, towel dry, blow it out from the roots. Reset the structure. Remind your bob of the shape it's meant to hold. It's like giving your hair a posture check. A little realignment, a gentle nudge back into elegance. You don't need to do it every day, but once a week, your future self will thank you. There you have it, sweetheart. 6 tiny shifts that can turn your bob from to elegant without cutting a single inch. No harsh rules, no guilt, just gentle, thoughtful course corrections that bring your haircut back to life. Because here's the truth. Most of us were never taught this stuff. We figure it out as we go, and somewhere along the way, we start to believe our haircut just stopped working. But now, you know better. And knowing better means you style smarter. You feel more in control. And maybe, just maybe, you look in the mirror tomorrow and think, there she is. Tink. If any of these tips surprised you, or if you've got your own little trick, I'd love to hear it in the comments. I read every one. And if you're wondering how to keep your bob smooth through humidity or tame stubborn cowlicks, that's exactly what we'll cover in the next video. So go on, enjoy that beautiful bob of yours. You've earned it.